Yes, people, Arsenal with Ash, and it's time for the Premier League to return. International break is done, club football is back, and we're back with a big one. Arsenal versus Tottenham, the North London derby. We're away at Spurs, and it's just a massive game. I don't need to tell you much more. It's massive every season, no matter who's doing well, who's not. It's a massive game early on in the season as well. Fourth game in, both teams with decent starts to the season. Spurs have had a bit of a indifferent start in terms of the results, but they've seemed to play on some decent football. They've got a draw, a win, and a defeat. So drawing their first game away at Leicester, beating Everton at home quite convincingly, and then losing narrowly to Newcastle in their last game. Obviously, as you know from us, our results, we've got 2 wins and a draw. Starting the season with a win against Wolves at home, going to Villa Park away and getting a very good win there, and then the controversial draw last time out at home to Brighton. So yeah, like I said, both teams have made decent starts, but are both going to want to obviously win this game. As always, a massive game. They've not beaten us in the last 2 seasons. So I think we beat them twice a couple of seasons ago, home and away. And then last season they came to our place and got a draw. But towards the back end of last season, that big win that we got away at their place, going 3-0 up, I think, in the first half, and then end up winning 3-2. So yes, a massive game. Like I said, they haven't beaten us in a couple of seasons. So hopefully that continues. They're going to obviously have a lot of important players that we need to keep an eye on. I think the main players we're going to have to look at is obviously Son. He loves to score against us. Scored plenty of goals against us. He's their main goal threat. So we're obviously going to have to keep an eye on him. We don't know whether he's going to play down the middle in the 9 or if he's going to come off of the left. But either way, and in both positions, he's managed to score goals against us. So it's a big threat. We're going to have to watch out for him. Obviously, Maddison feeding him. Had a poor end to the season last year, but seems to have kind of picked up a bit of form this season so far. So obviously we're going to have to look out for him. A very talented player, and if he gets the time and the space, he can cause us problems. Obviously they got the new signing Solanke. I don't know if he's going to play. The likes of Van der Ven in defence. So they've got a lot of good players, very good players. But yeah, we know all about them. We're gonna just have to carry on basically what we did last season, and just stick to our game plan. Hopefully, we can get the job done. In terms of tactics, we know how they're going to play. They're going to try and squeeze up the pitch. They're going to have a high line and rely on the likes of Van der Ven and Romero to cover the channels in transitions. But I think we can get a lot of joy there, like we did last season. They like to invert both fullbacks. It's most likely going to be Odogi on the left and Pedro Porro on the right. So they like to invert them and congest the middle of the pitch. So we're going to have to keep a really compact shape. And when we get the opportunities, break, especially in the channels, get some pace out in the channels. That's why I think the likes of Sterling, Martinelli, Saka can be really important in this game. If they can get out into those channels, we can cause them a lot of problems. So yeah, but in terms of us, who knows how we're going to line up? Obviously, everyone knows what's happened over the international break, what happened in the last game. We know that basically what Arteta's most likely best midfield three, all of them are going to be unavailable for this game. That's Mikel Merino. We know he's out for a couple of months with a shoulder injury. Declan Rice, that suspension, he's got a 1 game suspension. And Martin Odegaard, who in the international break looks to have done some real damage to his ankle. We don't know yet the extent of the injury. But that's our whole midfield three out. So there's so many different options that Arteta can go with. Is he going to put Havertz in midfield? Is he going to play Jorginho and Partey and keep like a experienced screen in front of the defence? Is he going to put one of the left backs in midfield, Timber, Calafiori, Zinchenko? Is he going to go and put his faith in Ethan Nwaneri and put him in midfield? There's so many options. Could he go Saka in midfield? Could he go Trossard in midfield? Who knows? But all I know is that there's a lot of options that we have, and we're not as handicapped as the social media presence will tell you. But yeah, there's a lot of options. I'm really interested to see what Mikel does, which leads me nicely onto the team news. like I said, we've got Marino out, we've got Odegaard out, Declan Rice out. Calafiori, I know, picked up a knock in international break as well, so I don't know what his status is. Mikel hasn't done his pre-match interview yet. I don't think the boys are even back to train yet. But Raheem Sterling, he's in training. He's looking good in training. He obviously knows the Premier League very well, knows Tottenham very well, so I'm sure he'll be ready to go straight in there, and I'd love to see him start the game. But yeah, like I said, there's not really much I can talk on with the team news because we don't know yet how everyone's come back from internationals. We obviously know about the injuries that I've mentioned. So yeah, we'll wait to see later in the week to see what Mikel has to say and how the boys train when they come back. But yeah, there's been a lot of outrage about this Odegaard injury and how we've been left short and how the transfer window was a disaster and all of these things. And it's just so extreme, but that's what you're going to get on social media. It's just extremists. Yes, I do kind of agree in terms of the attacking midfielder position that we obviously let Smith Rowe go and Vieira go. The Vieira one was a surprise. I thought he'd get one more season at least for a chance to prove himself. And now we're a bit short, but we've got plenty of options. Like I've mentioned before, the system can change. There's the likes of Kai Havertz can play in there. We've got to put faith in Ethan Nwaneri. He's a really talented kid. So yeah, it's up to Edu and Mikel. They're the ones that planned the squad and sort out the squad. They would have had their ideas. They would have known that it's a potential injury to the likes of Odegaard. And they've got a plan for that. So let them do their job. Let's see if we can get through this patch without him. And if not, then we can raise the questions. But yeah, that's all I've got to say on the uproar and all the chaos that you get on social media. But that's never going to change. But yeah, predicted lineup. Like I said, it's a tough one to call. What is going to happen? I don't know. I'm actually going to give my predicted 11, what I want to see happen. And yeah, so I'm going to go with David Raya in goal, of course. I'm going to go with the usual back three with Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. And at left back, I would stick with Timber. I'd have Timber in there at left back. I'd then go with a midfield three, but more of a two. So I'd have two sixes with Jorginho and Partey sitting, and then I'd probably have Kai Havertz in the 10, just roaming around, getting up and down the pitch, using his energy, helping us to win those duels in midfield, and then crashing the box when we're on the attack. And then I'd go with a front three of, I'd go with Sterling. I'd go with Raheem Sterling on the left. I think, like I said, Sterling is fearless. He knows the Premier League. He's an experienced player. He's hurt Tottenham before. He's been training with us for a couple of weeks now. And yeah, I think he's going to be ready and roaring to go. Martinelli obviously wasn't in the best form before the international break. I know he stayed back and been training. And Trossard, when he starts the game, he's not as effective. So yeah, I'd go with Sterling on the left. I'd go with Jesus up front, who apparently should be fit for the game. If not, then we're obviously going to have to tinker that a bit. And then of course Saka on the right. I think that front three / front four can cause Spurs so many problems in transition. If we can just sit and keep a compact shape, with our elite defence and the experience of Jorginho and Thomas Partey in front of them, then we can just go and let the front four do their thing. So that's what I want to see. Whether Mikel does that, I do not know, but it remains to be seen. And all that we can be sure about is that that's going to be interesting. And then the score. What do I think is going to happen? I think we're going to win. I think we will go there and win. We've got the experience. We've won there a couple of times in the last 2 seasons. I do think, despite the injuries, we're still the better team. And yes, it will be a tough game. I can't see it be any 3-0 at halftime, anything like that again. But I am confident that we can go there and get the win. So I am going to go with a narrow 2-1 win. I do think it will be tight, but I'm going to go with a narrow 2-1 win. and I'm going to go for Raheem Sterling to score on his debut. And I'm going to go for Kai Havertz to get a goal. So yeah, let's hope I'm right. Let me know your thoughts, what you think is going to happen. It's a massive game. You know we hate this lot. We need the 3 points because it's Man City next week. Before that, it's Atlanta in the week. It's just going to be relentless until the next international break. So we need to make sure we're on form. We stay in touch with the top of the table. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. Follow me on Instagram at Arsenal with Ash, X at Arsenal with Ash. And yeah, just